Lucy's Kitchen, it's Lucy's Kitchen. She's Lucy and she's got a kitchen. Lucy's Kitchen.
And now that we've got your attention, let's cook. Hi there. Welcome to Lucy's Kitchen. I'm Lucy and this is my kitchen. Today we're going to make Parmesan-Crusted Chicken. This dish is a little decadent, but it's still light. It's fresh, brightly flavored, delicious, and elegant. It's lighter and fancier than fried chicken, and it's an easy go-to for company. Well, this dish should make you think of Napa Valley, spa food. It's that kind of dish. But, of course, it's fried in butter, so I'm not so sure about the spa part. Anyway, let's go over the ingredients because this is really a simple dish. We're going to be done here very quickly, and it's the perfect kind of thing to have in your repertoire for when you need it. First of all, we're going to have chicken. Now, I'm going to start with the chicken because part of this dish requires pounding the chicken to a 1/2 inch thickness. And I've already done quite a few of the chicken cutlets, so I'm just going to do one to show you how to do it. So this chicken is just a half chicken breast, and it's about, I'd say, 3/4 of, about 6 ounces, so less than 1/2 pound. And just have it between 2 sheets of parchment. Now I'm going to start to pound it and thin it out as I've done with all these others. I'll show you in a sec. So we've got a fat part and a thin part. You want to be careful when you're using your mallet not to over pound. I mean, sometimes it's very tempting, but we're not going to do that. We're going to try to do it gently so that we don't completely smash this beyond recognition. So we start with a couple of hits and see how tough it is. And of course, boneless chicken breasts tend to be fairly tender, so we don't have to really do too much, okay? It's already starting to flatten. You can check it every now and then, but we want to make sure that it's even. So what we're looking for here is an even thinness, and that's very important because it will help this chicken cook evenly. And that's what we want. We don't want some parts to be cooked and other parts to be raw. And because we're cooking this pretty much in butter, we're going to want it to cook quickly so that it doesn't burn. So we're going to do that, and that's all there is to it. And I've done that with 3 other chicken breasts. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to combine some breading combinations. We've got, what I like to do is I like to use my cake pans that sit in my pantry forever and never get used for anything if I'm not making a cake. This is the perfect use for them. We've got 2 of them, and I've got a pie pan right here. In fact, I'm going to just take this away. All right, so we've got our pie pan, we've got our 2 cake pans. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take, and we've got some flour, we've got some salt and pepper and nutmeg, okay? And that goes into one of these pans. And then we have some breadcrumbs, and we've got parsley, and Parmesan cheese. Now, it's important to use the really finely grated Parmesan, not the shredded Parmesan, because we want this to really mix so it adheres to the chicken. And then I'm going to take my eggs. Whoops. That probably happens all the time. Just take that out of there. Here's another one. So we can... Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to mix these different ingredients. I'm mixing up the flour. I'm mixing up breadcrumbs and cheese. Perfect. And now I'm going to mix up the egg. Okay, that's nice and mixed. So I'm going to just grab my chicken and we'll start to dip. So the first piece goes into the flour. Then, okay, so it's nicely floured. And then we're going to put it into, I'll use my tongs for this, into the egg. You want to make sure it's lightly coated. And then into the breadcrumbs. Now we want to make sure there's lots on here, so kind of pat it with the breadcrumbs so they adhere. And then take it, shake it out, make sure it's got breadcrumbs on both sides, and put it on a tray. And then we're going to repeat with the rest of the pieces. So once again, we'll take a piece of chicken, put it in the flour. Now, your chicken is going to be pounded out to different sizes. Some of them might be as big as a plate, depending on the size of your chicken breasts. Please feel free to cut those breasts in half, because some people really will just be overwhelmed with the chicken that you get in the store these days. I love the smell of nutmeg. It's coming up so beautifully when I put the chicken into the flour. The flour mixture is what makes this chicken crispy, because it gives it sort of a second skin. And when it hits the hot butter, it pops a little. So you've got your breadcrumbs kind of popping, and then the flour underneath crispens up too. So you got double crisp. I don't know why it works, but it really does. Okay, this is a little awkward, but that one's huge, as you can see. And that's like one of the problems with some of these chicken breasts. They're just enormous. Now, if I served that to one of my friends, they would be taking doggy bags home. But that might be just the perfect size for my husband. Needless to say, this is one of his favorite dishes. And that's nicely covered. And finally, our last one. Now you can prepare your cutlets in advance and have them ready to go, as I did, between sheets of parchment paper. And I think when you're then ready to cook, you can do this part, and it doesn't take very long. This is a dish you can make slightly ahead, not hours ahead, but slightly ahead, because as you'll see, when we fry these, we're going to also put them in a warming oven, because we won't be able to fry them all at the same time. And so you'll be able to do that and come back to them for serving. All right, that's it for this part. Now meet me over at the stove and we'll get to frying. Okay, well, we're ready to fry. And by fry, I mean pan fry. It's very different from deep frying. It's really so much lighter and also more delicious. I have 6 tablespoons of butter. And I'm going to, because we're going to be doing this for a while, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. Just a little olive oil helps keep the butter from burning. And I'm going to turn this down until it's melted. Whoa! So as soon as this is melted, we'll add the chicken. And one way we test it is by throwing in a tiny bit to see if it's hot enough. So now that the butter is melting, I can turn the heat back up. Now I'm going to get ready here and start adding my chicken breasts. I'm putting them in I'm putting them in smooth side down. Whoa! Be careful. You might have to do this in batches. So in the meantime, I've got my oven on warm, and when we're done with these, we're going to put them on a rack and keep them in the oven so that they can stay warm. We don't want them to get overcooked, but having them in the oven for half an hour to an hour is probably just fine. And then they'll retain their crispiness, and they'll be just as delicious as when you first pull them off the pan. All right, we're back. I've checked them and they are starting to brown, so we're going to go ahead and flip them over and let them brown on the other side. Oh, aren't they beautiful? They're just golden brown. Lovely. Now we're going to let them cook on this side for 3 or 4 minutes, and we'll check them again. So they've been cooking on the other side now for about 4 minutes, and I would say they're pretty much done. Now, when you're turning them, do be careful not to scrape off the Parmesan coating, if you can. It's nice to make sure that it doesn't slide off of any part of the chicken. Oh, gosh, see, right there, slid right off. I'm pushing it right back on. And let's take a look. Good. Okay, I'm going to put these on my rack and put them in the oven, and then we'll get to the next batch. Working quickly here. And whoa. Now the nice thing about having them in the oven for a little while is that, you know, you can undercook them slightly. You don't have to make sure that they're dead cooked all the way through, because they're going to keep cooking for a few minutes after you stop sauteing them. Now I've got 2 gigantic ones. Okay, turn that up. And it's the same drill. We're going to saute them on one side for 3 or 4 minutes, flip them over, saute them on the other side, and add them to the rest. All right, these are perfect. I'm taking them off. I'm going to just flip them on here. And, whoa, there we go. Okay, those are done. I'm going to throw them back in the oven and keep them warm. And as I mentioned, they're not going to lose any of their juiciness, and they're not going to dry out. They're just going to be perfect. Okay, all of our Parmesan-crusted chicken is finished, and it's in the oven just waiting. And we're going to do the final step now. We're going to make a beautiful, elegant, simple sauce simply by deglazing the pan with some white wine, lemon juice, and adding just a little bit of butter. So we're going to start with our white wine. Now I love this because it picks up everything. It actually washes your pan for you, but it also makes sure that you get to keep all that delicious brown stuff that's in the bottom of your pan. That's where a lot of the flavor is, the chicken flavor and the Parmesan flavor. It's really marvelous. So we're just going to let that stir around a little bit, and then I'm going to add my lemon juice, and now I'm going to turn it way up because now I want it to boil. So we're going to just go ahead and stir it. I'm going to add a little bit of salt because we use so little salt in making the chicken because of the Parmesan, but I know we're going to need it for the sauce, and it'll enhance the flavor altogether. So sauce is really lovely because it's just starting to thicken. And as it cooks, we're going to put little bits of butter in and make it actually very creamy. So here we go. Just little, basically teaspoons at a time. Stir it in until it just kind of combines. And it makes for a beautiful creamy sauce. At this point, I think I'll use a whisk and I can control it. And unlike a gravy, this won't form a skin or curdle. So you could make this ahead and serve it later. Just warm it up. But add the butter at the last minute because that part is where it thickens. One more teaspoon of butter and I think we'll be ready to go. So, all right. Turn it way down now. And that's it. A perfect, beautiful wine lemon butter sauce. Oh, that's crazy. That's so good. You're going to love this. And we're ready to eat. You can see how gorgeous these are. The Parmesan-Crusted Chicken breast, absolutely divine. So let's see, I'll pick one. I think this is a nice one. And it's a little tricky. Okay, there we go. Add that to my plate. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? So what I've got here is some cooked asparagus. I'm serving this beautiful thing with lemon wedges. Each person can add more lemon as they please. And our sauce. Now, as I said before, it's not a gravy. This is just a very simple sauce, and it's just going to enhance our dish. It's really not meant to drown it. Just a little drizzle is all we need. So I'll take this beautiful sauce, and I'm going to just drizzle it over my chicken. And this is going to add this lovely lemon flavor. We're just going to want to dip our chicken right in there. Okay, now it's pretty hot, but I'm sure I can manage. Give this a try. And it's perfectly done. Very moist. It's delicious. It's the essence of lemon chicken. Oh, well, I hope you'll give this a try. It's not very hard, didn't take very long, and we have this marvelous meal for tonight. Not only is it delicious, but it presents itself so beautifully. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and join us next week when we present more delicious recipes from my kitchen to yours.